We welcome you to another live edition of the Sports Box, brought to you by our friends at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use the box at sign up for 10 points. And here we go.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Smell that clean air. Only on the Sports Box Network. I am, yes, elated and happy having to Mike Galletta along with my partner in crime, Brian the Ranger Attard. And this is Highly Opinionated. Hello, Brian.
You moist? It's all right.
Listen, I am beyond moist. I might kayak out of here. That's how moist I am right now. It's just, listen, I shouldn't get that excited. They still have 2 more games to play. Actually, 1 more before I go off the rails. But we will get to that, and we will talk about the other game in the NFL that is going to happen this weekend. Some exciting games, some interesting topics. But first, Brian will give you a little bit of crowd play.
Welcome to the show, kids. Check out CrowdPlay if you haven't already, which if you haven't, we've only been telling you for like a year. So you should probably go check it out.
Your head in the stand or something.
Use code THEBOX at sign up, get 10 free points. Check the guys out. It is a lot of fun to play. Totally free to play. Can't lose any actual dollars. You might actually win some. So Apple App Store, Google Play, check it out.
Absolutely. So, big slate of NFL games. The NHL is back. We are excited about that. We might dabble a little bit in that. And yes, the Eagles are still interviewing coaches. So,
I actually had my interview earlier today.
Nice.
They would give me a call. Let me know what they thought.
They called my answer machine. I missed the call. I got to go to next week, reschedule. So, I'm sure the job will be open by then still, too.
Yeah, I don't. That's probably about right.
Yeah, they've interviewed my God, 11 coaches in like a week.
It's sick. It's
actually
unbelievable.
How many guys do you got to bring in before you like somebody? I mean, it's either that or just there's nobody left. I mean, I feel bad for the Houston job. I mean, God forbid.
It's 4-2 New Jersey.
I
like having my setup here because I can watch the game right here for good or bad. At least it's on.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. So
yes, there's Tom. Yeah, he just.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah, no, lots to talk about. Colin Cowherd put his foot in his mouth. We'll bring that up. I know Ryan Leach had some thoughts about that already. But listen, first and foremost, let's start with the Kansas City Chiefs holding on, and I mean holding on, to a 22-17 victory over the Cleveland Browns. Give them full credit. They will advance to host the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship. The early line on that is Chiefs -3, over 153.5, without knowledge of who is quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. And Mike, listen, I'm full disclosure here. I had the Chiefs money line in a parlay just to add some odds. And as soon as Mahomes went out, I cashed that bitch right out.
Yeah.
Because the risk, the juice was just not worth the squeeze to me at that point. And I have no regrets, even though they won anyway. It was a weird game. A lot that if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, you really got to wonder where your team's going to be in this weekend. It leads to the best 2 teams in the AFC by far in the AFC title game, but it's a bad rule. And I think if that rule was different, I don't know if the impact of the game would be different.
Yeah, and I was going to touch on that. The rule that when he dove for the pylon, the ball came loose, went out of the back of the end zone. Touchback for Kansas City. But I'm looking at. Before the season, if you remember, we talked a little bit about this. We thought it was going to be an issue about the helmet-to-helmet contact rule that they were going to start calling. So where was the helmet-to-helmet on that call? I mean, the referee was standing right there, and all he was concerned about was the ball going out of the back of the end zone. The reason he lost the ball is because Sandstrom came up and buried him helmet-to-helmet. So that should have been the call number 1. Number 2, it is a call back of the end zone. It was a touchback, but I think it was more of a helmet-to-helmet call because that caused the actual fumble. And who knows? Brian, Cleveland scores there. It's a whole different ball game. And Chad Henne comes in that game late. I mean, at that point,
it is.
It's a different call, different everything.
It is, but Bill Belichick has a rule for the Pats. It's now 5-2 Devils, so the Rangers falling apart quickly. Belichick has a rule they do not stretch out at the goal line for that because again, my famous line, the juice is not worth the squeeze. The risk is too great of that exact thing happening. Get the ball, get down to the 1. And listen, Browns are an excellent running team. This is not rocket science. This is not breaking news on the Sports Box. You're there at the 1 yard line with 4 shots at the end zone. You're probably getting in. And I don't blame Rashad Higgins. I mean, look, you're trying to score a touchdown. I completely get it. But, we'll look back on this game however many years from now. That was the turning point. That's the second biggest thing in the game behind the Mahomes injury, which we'll talk about. But it's unfortunate because, if they get a score there, everything changes.
Whole different game. Yep.
Everything
changes. The thing is, and I know you're saying protect the ball, and that's the obvious choice looking at it now and things like that. But you put yourself in that situation. You're that close. You want to make a play for your team. You want to, like you said, you can't fault the guy for trying to get in the end zone. I mean, he gets the end zone. Or crosses the ball. We're not talking about this right now. And Paul Allen, don't fumble the ball. It's easy to say that and too, but I think like I said, it was more, I think, of the helmet to helmet hit that caused that fumble than everything. And the referee just let it blind eye. And to be honest, Brian, that hasn't been a call a lot this year that they haven't called. And there's been some helmet to helmet contact with the defensive backs. I mean, I thought it'd be called a lot more than it is.
Yeah. I think though, I think everybody gets up in arms about the hit. Look, don't get me wrong. The hit probably should have been penalized. I'm not disputing that. But it's because we're watching this replay over and over and over again of the ball going out of the end zone. And what's causing the ball to go out of the end zone is a direct helmet-to-helmet hit. I mean, they don't have flags on replays. And I think that,
and they can't do that because the game will be 5 hours long if they start doing that. So,
Garth Patrick, thank you, sir. I have a full closet of these behind me. I like to rotate. And it should be reviewable, and Paul's right. And I think that you get hit twice there if you're the Browns. Not only do you lose the ball, which by all accounts, I'll tell you something right now. I'm going to go in a hot take here. They're changing the rule by next year because everybody's like, that's the worst rule in sports. You got to do something different about that. Shouldn't be change of possession. I mean, it should, however you want to do it.
We thought about that too. You want to penalize them, move them back to the 25-yard line. That's fine. That I had no problem with that. Look, if the ball went out of the end zone, out of bounds, that's where the ball's dead. So the ball goes out of the end. You're down to the one. I don't understand why we have to penalize teams for trying to get in the end zone. You can't advance the ball anywhere, so why penalize the team for fumbling it forward?
If you're extending, and Paul said, I don't think they should change it. But if you're extending, you're trying to score. It's not as if what you don't want that to become is fumbling the end zone. It gets out of bounds, that the other team retains possession. But if you're just lunging, I don't know. I don't really know what you do. No goal, so it's 4-2. That could be a turning point in the game. It sucks. It just there's no other way to say it. Like, that's just not ideal. I don't have an answer, but I don't think that you should have to lose possession of the ball there. I think there's some sort of happy medium. I don't claim to know what that is, but I think that there's something that can be done there.
It sucks because Cleveland was in this game. They really, I didn't think they were going to get torched in this game, but I thought they were going to play a little bit different than they did. They really came out and pushed. They ran the ball well. They had some catches. They moved and they played well. They were right in this game, and that really was a momentum changer. It changed the whole game face, even to the point where Chad Henne came in near the end of the game and ran that ridiculous third down where he got to 1 yard short of the thing. It was amazing he did that. But yeah, listen, it's a shame for Cleveland. They really played hard, but again, I'll tell you, it might have changed the game and stuff like that, but you play a little bit better. You don't put yourself in that position. You should have made a couple more drives than they should have against a Chiefs team that was stumbling. They weren't the normal Chiefs, and in the Browns' defense, they were slowing them down near the red zone. They were slowing that team down.
No, I thought the game was closer than the score indicated. I really did. Anthony Medio from our Sunday show lost it down, moved ball back to the original line of scrimmage. I'm not, like I said, I think in a league that predicates offense so much, I just feel they're going to find a way to change this. Because now it's happening in really high-profile spots.
I just don't think you could use a replay on it, because if you start using replay on that, then you start using it on a lot of things. The game gets longer and longer and longer, and I know you want to get it right, but you just can't start using replay for every little thing like that, especially on penalties. You can't.
No, I agree. But listen, the tone of the game, the playoffs, the season changed when Mahomes couldn't stand up. And listen. Let's call this what it is, right? I'm not sitting here advocating injury, but people went 6 to midnight in Cleveland and in Buffalo when that happened, because look, he is what he is to that team. He is the straw that stirs the drink. Everything goes through him. We can talk about how good Tyreek Hill is, Travis Kelce is, Andy Reid is. They win because of him.
Yeah.
So I don't know outside of Aaron Rodgers that there's anybody else that happens to. There's like a gasp and like there are butterfly effects moving forward with a guy like that.
I would say Josh Allen of Buffalo. I think
now you might be able to make that case.
Yeah, but no, he. I mean, he's a former MVP. He's Super Bowl winner. I mean, he makes that team move. He's the cog that makes that team go.
100%.
And and we're going to get into Colin Cowherd's asinine comment, but he I don't know if he pinched the nerve in his neck or he just got a flat out concussion, but it didn't look good.
He looked like he got his bell rung.
He started to get up. I mean, he just went down. His legs just collapsed under him. That didn't look good at all. People were just freaking out. Paul Allen, I don't know about Russell Wilson. I mean, he's a little bit. No,
I get where he's coming from, but I think because they haven't been in the championship level in so long. They haven't been even, I think, to a title game in so long. Like, I think that I mean, I kind of get that. And Anthony brings up the toe. I think he's going to play. If you're the Browns, my fear coming in was they were going to just be fat and happy that they got there. They didn't do that, to their credit. This was a hard game no matter what for them. I give full credit to Andy Reid for a ballsy call on 4th down because that goes the other way. Yeah. Huge momentum change, a huge everything. So give credit where it's due. Big, just great job there. And Chad Henne, coming off the bench there. I mean, he's not waking up that morning saying, I'm going to play today.
That's where they tell you, even though you're not playing, you study the book, you go to practice, you do the reps like you're playing. For that situation, when you have to come off the bench, if you're not ready to roll, guess what, Kansas City? You're out of the playoffs. And that's all on Chad Henne if they're out of the playoffs because of that, because that's what happens to a backup quarterback. You want to talk about they don't play? Yeah, they hold a clipboard. Yeah, they do this. Yeah, they do that. But you know what? In that situation, when they're needed, they have to step up. And that's good. Glad for Chad Henne. He stepped up.
And Anthony, he literally threw a fly ball.
That was bad. I didn't understand that call at all. I mean, you got a guy who hasn't played most of the year in a situation like that, and you're throwing at the end and you're still getting aggressive. That's a little too aggressive.
They leave Alex in. They're not gonna. It's the 3rd game of the year. Okay, stop. They leave Alex in. So listen, look, we're not surprised the Chiefs or the Bills are here the way this season was going. So these are the 2 best teams in the AFC. We can say wholeheartedly, this is the matchup everybody wanted, and it's going to be played regardless of what someone like Colin Cowherd comes out today and says that the NFL should wait until Mahomes is cleared to play the championship. And I have the footage because I think if I had the footage, you wouldn't believe me, but I do. And here it goes, courtesy of FS1.
Write that thing. But we want Mahomes against Josh Allen, right? Like that's reasonable. And I'm sitting here this morning thinking, if I'm the NFL, Patrick Mahomes is going through protocol. I find the day Patrick Mahomes can play, that's when we play. Why not?
Are you serious?
Look, Brian, we've been following football since we were little kids, and we've watched a lot of football, a lot of people, a lot of crazy comments. That might be the most asinine comment I've ever heard come out of a guy's mouth in the NFL. So you want to stop the league for one guy. I don't care if he's the MVP. I don't care if he's a flashy guy. You want to stop the freaking league for one guy to get healthy. Are you kidding me?
Do you understand the damage that would happen in the city of Buffalo?
Oh my, that's crazy. If you're in Buffalo right now, you would drive to Kansas City and burn that city to the ground. Why would you give them an advantage if the guy can't play to extend the game so they can have their number 1 guy back? If he can't play, he can't play.
You know what? Listen, listen. Dak Prescott got hurt in week 5. We should probably hold a season until he can play again. I mean, come on. That's the most idiotic. Oh, Carson Wentz in the Rams game. Oh, we got to just pause the season until his ACL's fine. We'll see you back in the summertime.
It's a shame. Colin Cowherd's been in this business a long time, knows a lot of stuff, and is smart with most of his comments and all. That is just foot in the mouth. Just stupid comment. Why would you stop a league for him? So, Brian, the best player in the NHL, who would you say the best player in the NHL is?
Connor McDavid.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I was going to say too. Connor McDavid. So he's hurt one night and they're playing, they're playing the Rangers or whatever. And they're playing in the championship series. Wait, we should push it off a week till Connor McDavid gets back. I mean,
hey, listen, Tampa Bay Lightning won a Stanley Cup without Steven Stamkos. I mean, this is
sports.
High level horrible take.
Yeah.
High level horrible.
You know how they tell you step up and you become the next player up, next man up? That is this. Okay. I'm sorry that you're not getting to see Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry that you might not see the MVP. This is the way sports is. Man up, play up, get back on the field. You can't. The next player does. That's what it is. You don't stop a game because of that. It's just ridiculous. Did they stop it when he got hurt? Did they say, you know what? Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. All right. Stop the clock here. Next week we'll play it this way. He'll be better. We can start it up again. No, you move on. That's bad.
When I saw it, I'm like,
bad.
I was like, no.
And he's getting waxed for that too. I mean, all over, not just from us, obviously, but just from everywhere. I mean, that's just.
Listen, but I would say this. Look, I'm not necessarily like rooting for or against anybody in this game. Like, I don't have necessarily a rooting interest, so to speak. I might bet the game, and then I'll tell you who I'm rooting for. But I'm just saying, like, why do you possibly think that we're going to delay that? We haven't delayed games for
ever.
The Denver Broncos came into a game with a converted wide receiver playing quarterback. It was one of 9. Mm-hmm. I understand that that's not the AFC Championship game, but like, are you serious? I can't go.
Listen, Michael Thomas wasn't 100% for that Saints game that we're hearing about, but they didn't stop that.
It's just like.
And what's interesting about injury today, Brian, is I also heard AJ Brown had work on his knees today. He got surgery, and his comment was that he was done for the year after week 2, but he played the whole year and made the Pro Bowl. Don't know how I did it. That's crazy. If he's hurting that bad after week 2 and he played the entire season and made the Pro Bowl, wow. Yeah. That's unbelievable. But Colin Cowherd lost a lot of respect for you, man. That's how do you sit there with a straight face and make a comment like that? That's just unbelievable to me.
Trojan ends Boner of the Week award goes to Colin Cowherd.
Jackass of the year is what that is. That's just like, how do you even like say that with a straight face and say, yeah, they should stop it?
Idiotic take.
I don't think his brother wouldn't make a comment like that of Patrick Mahomes.
I thought it was terrible.
Bad. Yeah,
later that evening.
Oh, what happened in this game?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers advanced to the NFC Championship game to visit Green Bay with a 30-20 win over the New Orleans Saints. The early line on that Sunday game is Packers -3.5, over under 50.5. Mike, here's the one thing we're going to talk a lot about Drew Brees. This is arguably, or at least reportedly, his last game. That was his last game at the Super Bowl, regardless, coming in, that he was going to hang it up, and that's what every indication is. Especially if you look at New Orleans and their cap situation, it's really not good. But the one thing I will say to you is this: I thought Tampa Bay could win the game simply because their defense is really underrated, especially against the run, and without Taysom Hill, without Latavius Murray, this was going to be a bit of an uphill battle on the run anyway. They're so important to what it is that the Saints do. Mm-hmm. And as I'm watching the game, I'm watching it unfold. Couldn't have started off worse for the Buccaneers. You get that 3 and out, and then they're running it back to like your 20-yard line. And that happened again, minus a penalty call. They looked very much out of sorts. And I really thought it couldn't. They took a body blow and survived it, because like it could not have gone worse. And they were only down like a score, or they were tied at the time, like whatever it was. Like, it wasn't like, they were tied at the end of the half. And despite the fact Jameis Winston comes in, and you probably were like throwing things at that point.
Yeah. But, everybody's all over that story. Big deal. Yeah, I could have threw that pass. I mean, that was horrible how they missed coverage on that.
As you were watching that early part of that game, what was going through your head? Because I'm watching it, I'm like, this can't be going worse, but yet they're not really losing that bad.
Well, it was disheartening, like you said, because Brady was two times 3 and out, and they couldn't really, and they were going deep, which Brady doesn't do a lot. And they were trying to throw deep on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. They're throwing bombs to the end zone. Okay, you take your shot. Okay, whatever, but it wasn't working. The offense started slow, but you know what? Defense came to play. That defensive line all year has played well. Their linebackers are ridiculous. Their secondary is a little young, but you know what? Secondary played really well. Murphy Bunting had an interception, and Winfield back there. Carlton Davis played really good. Dean had a good game. I mean, listen, that secondary, for the times that I've said that secondary has been weak and they haven't done anything, that game they really came to play, and they saved the offense. They honestly saved that offense. They kept them in long enough on that game. Twice New Orleans came down, put themselves in the red zone, and that Buccaneers defense stayed the course. So that was a win-win. Got them 6 points and got Tampa enough momentum and patience to get Brady going and get him in the second half really going. Now, Brady has started religiously slow this season. In the first quarter, he started slow, which is scary slow. They can't do that against Green Bay. They're going to need to, I wouldn't say keep the tempo up, but they got to move the ball downfield. They got to get themselves in position. If you punt a couple times, that's fine. But this defense has a big task this week to slow down a guy like Devontae Adams, who had 18 touchdowns and missed 3 games. So he's going to be a guy that is going to be tough to cover. Their defense is going to have their hands full this week, and they can win it. They have their hands full.
Here's a hot take for you. Anthony says if Winston starts, they win.
Oh, God. Anthony, you didn't say that.
Listen, I watched the same game you did. I had money on Tampa Bay on the money line. Like I thought they would win that game. Tom Brady did not win that game. Tom Brady did not look very good in that game. I mean, look, they got the points they needed. I'm not saying that. The defense was all the difference in that game. And I will tell you that.
No, I agree.
I think New Orleans lost it more than Tampa Bay won it. And if that's the game they bring to Green Bay, they're not going to win that game.
Well, their defense set the offense up. And the offense did right by capitalizing on that. They didn't just turn the ball over and then just, this and that, and then just, gave the ball back to New Orleans. They got the ball and they scored, which makes up for the slow start that they had. But they can't do that against Green Bay. I mean, they got to force turnovers, but they got to score in their own right. Tom Brady's got to take this team, move them down the field with all the weapons he has. I mean, Antonio Brown didn't get involved in the game, but now we know that he's hurt. He might be ready for Sunday. I'm not sure he's day to day. But use your weapons. You've got a ton of them, Tom. Godwin didn't get really involved in this game. Mike Evans got to get more involved in this game. Gronk's got to get more involved. You had a bad game. Chalk it up to the defense saving you. It's got to be Tom Brady this week if they're going to have a chance to win.
Well, again, so to John's point here, Breeze didn't even go for any plays over 20 yards. And, Michael Thomas had no catches. It was whatever the game plan was for the Saints. I don't know where Sean Payton was coming with this, but it did not work, which Breezes couldn't, actually execute it. But Green Bay can throw the ball very deep, and they have talented receivers, and they run the ball well. And Tim Brown drop passes. Don't want to talk about all the drops. Again, they need to be a different team next week. It's going to be a very good game. I think both of these games next week, we're going to break them down Sunday morning on our
games. Yeah.
Championship Sunday preview, 11 a.m. Make sure you don't miss that. But like I said, I just think as though he wasn't sharp, had a couple. I mean, there was the one he almost threw that same interception over again to Lattimore. And he was talking to himself like, what a fucking stupid throw. Like he knew that he got away with one there.
He got away with a couple in that game. He definitely did. Yep.
So, like I said, it's going to be a very good. Both will be very good games. I think we can't ask for more. And honestly, like if you want my honest opinion, these were the 4 best teams this year, all in. Like I think that in the NFC, the Saints, with the injury to Breeze all year and going back to Taysom Hill, the offense was stagnant. Seattle had their problems. I'm sure as hell wasn't Washington. So I think that these are the right 4 teams. Like it ended up the right way. But Green Bay's a different animal. What is crazy about it is that, historically, Tampa's coming in, cold weather, this, that, and a third. However, and I don't have the clip right now, or do I? No, I don't. Today was 19 years ago to the day that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers walked in the Veterans Stadium and closed that building down.
And supposedly couldn't win the game under 40 degrees and played their asses off that day. So
in the NFC title game. And it's crazy because, like I said, Brady's very comfortable in the cold.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown's comfortable in the cold. Gronk's comfortable in the cold. So this is not, you're not getting a Southern team. In fact, I could probably make a very coaching case that Green Bay would rather have seen New Orleans than Tampa Bay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because of the lack of explosive offense and.
Well, that line can get after him too. And they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to move Rodgers around and force him to throw in the run, which he's not that good at doing. But listen, he gets time back there. He's going to eat you apart. So they got to get pressure to him. Sue's got to get in there. Peter Paul, Vita Vea's back this week. I don't know if he's going to do much, but we'll see.
great story just because it came up. So again, I just texted my friend 19 years ago today. I was going to New York for a Rangers game against the Flyers, and we were getting on the train in Hamilton, and they had just scored the opening touchdown, and we're like looking at each other like we don't want this team to win. We get there, we get into Penn Station, we go to Houlihan's in Penn Station. We're watching the game on TVs like this big.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody obviously was against the Eagles. And when Rondé picks that ball off, the entire place erupted. Erupted. And I will never forget it because it was just like, and then we're going to the game and they were like, let's go Flyers. We're like, let's go Buccaneers. And they shut up very quickly.
I'll never forget the one catch in that game by one person that made a huge difference that nobody really talks about that much. The Joe Jurevicius catch across the middle was his only catch the entire day. And if you remember,
that was huge.
That week, he had an issue with his son, was in the hospital. His son ended up, unfortunately, passing away the following week. But his newborn son was in the hospital. He wasn't even thinking about going. His wife told him to go. He's got to play in this game. Made the biggest catch, 50-something yards. Got him in position. They scored right away, and the rest is history.
I just saw the highlight. I was watching the highlight today. I was just like reliving it. But
it is. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So
yeah.
We'll get goosebumps.
No. So moving on. Again, if that was Drew Brees' last game, the question then becomes, okay, so what is his legacy? Where does he rank all time? And I'm going to probably get, skewered for some of what I'm about to say, but it's just my opinion. He's overrated. And it's not a shot against him, but he literally landed in the absolute positive, perfect spot to accumulate the stats he accumulated. Up until he went to New Orleans, his years in San Diego, his best year was 3,500 yards. Up until he was 40 years old, he didn't have a year. He had 1 year in New England, 39. From the ages of 27 to 38, he did not have a single year in New Orleans below 4,300 yards. So I say that because, yes, he's done a lot. This is not me saying I'm denigrating him by any stretch. However, to be fair, he landed on a team with a very, 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 very pass-happy head coach and a very, 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 very below average defense. So he had the ability to throw for 5,000 yards on what appears to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 occasions in his career. Could have had another game there because the defense was very bad. If your defense was the 85 Bears, you're not throwing the ball that much. So it's all relative. Again, I'm not saying that because I think he would. No, I mean, top 10 of all time, no question about it. I mean, at the end of the day, will go in there and produce. Like, he did what he had to do. But they only won one Super Bowl. And if you think back to, his last couple of years, you have the disaster in Minnesota. You have the disaster blown call against the Rams. You have the push off against Kyle Rudolph. None of these are his fault, by the way, but just horrible losses in the postseason. And then this weekend, he looked bad. He did not he is a shell of himself. And I think he would be doing the right thing to hang up the cleats. He's age 41. Like, this is well over.
Well, I mean, Brady's doing it at 43. He looks good, but I agree. Breeze didn't play well in that game. I don't think he's overrated. I mean, he landed in that spot, and it's a perfect spot for him, but that's not his fault. He just took advantage of it.
I'm not blaming him. I'm saying,
no. I'm just saying, his stats are the way they are because he took advantage of it. He's the guy pretty much that started the throwing era, because for years when he went to New Orleans, they were noted for the defense was kind of suspect, and they would have to throw to get back in games, and you would have to get in a shootout with New Orleans all the time. So that's where he got a lot of his stats from. But you can't fault the guy on completion percentage. And I know he didn't win the Super Bowls. He won that big year, the Hurricane Katrina year. That really got them, back to where they are. But listen, I think the guy is a great quarterback. He's going to be in the top 10, I think, all time.
Yeah.
He'll be a Hall of Famer. He'll be a Hall of Famer. Yeah. But, I don't think he's overrated. I mean, he could have been better with a couple of those situations that happened, but
look, he's he will retire as number 1 all time in passing yards.
Yep.
He will get leaped next year by Tom Brady. That's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, I think these are accumulation stats. And like, again, a lot of opportunity to go win more rings. You just had the one. I mean, look, it was a very important one. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to put him with Tom. I'm not going to put him with Peyton. I'm not going to put him up there with some of the absolute like a Montana. Like, I'm not putting him in that conversation. Yeah. He's in the next set. And for a guy who was a 2nd-round pick who changed teams, I mean, these guys, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that because Brady and Banning both did. So did Favre. So did Rivers, actually come to speak of it. Oh, they did change a goalie. How about that? Shesterkin in for the 3rd period. I don't know if it was his fault. Again, the situation was completely optimal for gaudy numbers. That's all that I'm saying. And if you're going to judge the guy off of gaudy numbers and what he did for your fantasy team, you have to account for the fact that the defense created the environment for that to happen. That's all.
Okay. That's fine. I mean, I think he had a good career.
You saw him at least twice a year. Like, I know you didn't want to play him, but
and listen, he did some damage to me. I mean, he threw against that secondary like crazy. Listen, I think great career. You know, going out on top. Maybe not the way he wanted to go out, but you know, going out a winner, Super Bowl champion, tons of stats, tons of numbers. I mean, what else does he have to play for? He really does. What does he have to play for?
You'll get no disagreement from me on that. But
everybody's a big step back next year at Winston too if he's at the helm.
Everybody's very quick to just crown him as like, you know, this all-time great. He is, but I don't think he's in that elite conversation. He's not on the Mount Rushmore. He's not even in the park of Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks of all time, despite his yardage and everything else that he has.
He drove up to the parking lot, but he's not considered on the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Coaching hirings in the NFL. Dan Campbell is going to be the new coach of the Detroit Lions, and here you see him ready to address the team because he looks like PC Principal from South Park. We mentioned this Sunday a little bit. Weird hire for Detroit because I just think that it continues to be off the radar guys. Like no real established guy goes there and takes the reins. I'm not sure if that's an organizational thing or what, but I don't know. Like I don't get, you know, excited about Dan Campbell as a head coach. I don't know your thoughts on it.
He's not a flashy guy. They've had this guy pegged from the jump, supposedly. I don't know what he brings to the table for a team that needs some desperate defense. You know, and a quarterback that's aging. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand the hire either. I mean, there's not many guys left out there. I mean, I guess that could be it. They just like this guy to begin with, or they had a feeling about him. I don't know, but it's definitely not a flashy hire. It's not like an Urban Meyer hire down in Jacksonville at all, or any other coaches that have signed. I mean, I think the big sign was the Jets. The Jets got their guy that a lot of teams wanted and a lot of teams were looking to get. And I think that's a good signing, to be honest with you. I think it's the best signing so far. And the Eagles, we just talked about them for a show. You know, it's like a revolving door of people that they're just trying to bring in people and keep bringing people in ridiculous amounts. It's crazy.
I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know either.
I'm trying to get this meme that we made attached. It doesn't it seem like they're just like stalling? Like it's almost like they want to do something, but they don't want to do it yet.
I mean, I know there's not that many good coaches out there yet left. I mean, because they're at the bottom of the barrel, but Eric Bieniemy was out there. Deuce Staley was out there, which I thought one of them was getting a job. Yeah, there it is. I mean, it's crazy. It's just revolving door. Excuse me.
They might even come back and interview Doug Peterson.
Yeah.
But I don't look.
Well, he's laughing at him right now. I mean, they got rid of him and they have no idea who they were getting as a coach.
Well, I think that was to appease the quarterback, which I've said from the get-go who's going to start next year. And I still believe that. I'm not getting anywhere off of that take. But it's just like it is a disaster job to me.
It is. That and the Houston job are still two jobs out there that are just going on.
And right now, Josh McDaniels is apparently like the leader in the clubhouse for it, although it's like saying he wants, you know, money or whatnot. Here's what I'll say about that. If Josh McDaniels is the answer, then the question is pretty fucking hilarious because he is another guy from the Belichick tree who has done nothing. He went and took Tim Tebow in the first round of the draft that one year. He won one playoff game. I still see him pumping we won this playoff game by the skin of our freaking teeth. Like,
didn't do anything after that.
He would be the complete opposite from Doug Peterson in that he would be like, more of rough with not rough with the players, more of a disciplinarian, more accountability, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But dude, you're not Bill Belichick. And if Matt Patricia has anything we can say, like, listen, I'm not Bill Belichick. I can't be Bill Belichick. I know Brian Flores has a good start right now in Miami. He's the exception. Everybody else who's left Bill has not panned out.
Well, you look what he did with the Colts. And then you look at the Denver team where he went to Denver and everybody hated him when he was there because he was, too immature and things to that effect. And they say he might have grown from that. Now he's 40 years old from 33 when he was with Denver. But listen, I'm not a big fan of the Eagles, so it doesn't matter either way. Objectively, I'm thinking maybe this guy, you got to hope this guy grew up in 7 years and you're going to take a chance on him, again, to do something different he did in Denver. I don't know.
They're interviewing everyone.
There's not a lot of guys out there anymore that they seem to be hitting on. Yeah.
I mean, listen, interviewing Kellen Moore, interviewing the Colts offensive coordinator, this guy, that, like, it's like Oprah. Everybody gets an interview.
Yep.
What are you looking for?
I don't know. I don't know what they're looking for anymore. I figured they would have a coach by now. It boggles my mind how they don't have a coach by now. And Houston doesn't have one either. I think that's a mess too with the whole Deshaun thing. So,
well, that's deteriorating quickly. And no one, people say, well, he hasn't come out in the media and said he wants to look. I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire. And you got NFL players liking Instagram pictures of potential trades to teams like the Jets and Miami. I mean, this just feels like it's going to happen. And at the end of the day, we talk about disaster coaching jobs. Who in the hell wants to go coach in Houston right now? Because not only either you're there with Watson and he doesn't want to be there, or you're there without him, and then what the hell's the point? Like, now you're really rebuilding with no first round pick this year. I might add, but they would get a lot, obviously, in a deal.
Yeah.
But you can't feel good about that. You can't feel good about Philly. You can't feel good about Houston. And that's why they're the two openings, I think. And if you're Bieniemy, do you really want it that bad? Like, do you want a spot that bad that's that job that you'll take? Because I still think he is the leader for Houston, for the simple fact that I think that might, maybe, possibly, hopefully quell Deshaun Watson a little bit. But if he's on the way out, I don't know that you fix it.
I just don't understand how they haven't hired. If Bieniemy is such a good coach, why didn't he get a job yet? That's what bothers my mind. Every year it's Bieniemy. He doesn't have a job. Bieniemy.
Two things on that. One, they keep winning games, so it's hard to get these interviews, right? Yeah. Especially this year, it's different because of the COVID and the Zooms and everything. But previously, like, hey, you can't interview these guys like they're going to the Super Bowl. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is when you're winning with Patrick Mahomes, how much of that is you and how much of that is Patrick Mahomes? So, like, how much credit? This is a big power play for the Rangers. 15 minutes left. They're going to power play here. How much? What are you doing? And then if I put you on my team and I don't have that guy who's really good, what are you going to do? Well, and maybe his interview is just awful.
They interviewed Todd Bowles, I think, the other day, and who knows what happens with that. But obviously, I don't want him to leave Tampa because he's a good defensive guy with that defense, and just has to work out the secondary a little bit. But he's really got that defense clicking right now, so I really don't want him to come to Philadelphia. I mean, the draw is he's from the area. He's been here with Temple, and he's got ties here. But I really hope they don't sign him away from Tampa. But I honestly, it's crapshoot. I have no idea who they're going to sign right now. I mean, they say McDaniels the last day or two. They've said he's the leading candidate, but that doesn't mean anything if you keep bringing in guys. I mean, that doesn't mean anything. If he's the leading guy to candidate, why don't you let him leave town?
Mike Kafka.
Sign him and get him out and start him on the team.
Remember the name, Mike Kafka. I maintain
quarterback. Yeah.
I maintain that they want a puppet. They want a yes man. They want someone who will say yes sir, no sir, yes sir. I will help.
One-time quarterback in Philly, and he was a Temple guy. Yeah, yeah. I've heard that name circulated too. Don't know if any of it's true the way they're going, but
it's just one of those things where it's kind of just what I think. I don't really have like a valid reason for it. It's just my take on it. And all this time, as a Cowboys fan, all I hear is, Jerry Jones, Jerry Jones, Jerry Jones, Jerry Jones. You know what? And you're exactly right. This is what that's turning into without the multiple rings prior in. So if this is the meddling I mean, like don't throw stones at a glass house, Philadelphia, because that's what Jeffrey Lurie is turning out to be. I've been saying Jerry, I mean Jeffrey, because that's what it's coming down to. And everything you hear now about Wentz and everything, listen, that's the media. I don't buy all of it. There might be some of it in there. Quarterbacks are, weird cats, but this is a hit job, in my opinion. He's starting next year. I
agree.
Michael, the basketball is not my forte. However, the day after our show last week, earthquakes, because James Harden was traded from the Rockets to the Brooklyn Nets for a ton of stuff, 4 first-round picks, 4 pick swaps.
Mm-hmm.
And one, this feels like Kevin Garnett over and over again, which didn't work out for Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, within a matter of minutes, and again, I am not a basketball guy. I know enough to be dangerous. What I will tell you is I feel as though the team that won this deal was the Sixers, because the rumored package that they were going to give up there was Ben Simmons, Maxey was in there, I think Tybal was in there, might have been some first round picks in there,
three number ones
on top of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I agree with those who say that the Sixers, as currently constituted, are not going to win anything. I think they're very close. I've been known to say, and I say it again, that the Sixers are closer to win than the Flyers are, for the simple fact that you go one player away. You can go sign that guy. You can do whatever you want to. I'm on TV right now, by the way. One of my commercials is running on MSG Network. You'll see my face right now. That would have been a disaster and a half, I think, because you take whatever window you have to win longer term with young players and you just blow it up. And I think that the Sixers did well not making that deal. And they might have been saved from themselves because Rockets ownership and Tillman Fertitta did not want to deal with Daryl Morey now with the Sixers. And I believe I heard that the Sixers were actually making phone calls to agents saying, hey, you're getting traded, like to Ben. Didn't happen. I think they're better off. Your take.
Problem is that they don't have Embiid's not on a regular basis. So he's still getting hurt all the time. And I think that's the reason why that's going to hold him back a little bit. And, I think who made out in the deal is the Thunder, I think. I mean, even though they got all those picks, the Thunder's a team that's got to rebuild soon because they're decimated. They don't have Westbrook anymore. They don't have Harden now. They got to bring a ton of salary. They're going to have to really revamp that team. So I think, like you said, Harden's going to Brooklyn, but how long can he stay in Brooklyn with Durant and all these guys making buku bucks, win one championship, and then you're going to move on again? But that's the story of the NBA anymore. LeBron goes different places, brings his boys with him. They win a title, and then he moves on. I mean, that's just the way it is. Free agency is runs rampant in the NBA. But if you're going to ask me, I think the Thunder made out the deal. Got rid of a lot of cap, a lot of money.
The Rockets, you mean?
I mean the Rockets.
I was going to say.
I'm saying the Thunder. Yeah, the Rockets.
I must. That's okay. No, I mean, listen, the thing is this, right? The pick swaps are what they are. They're probably not going to happen, right? Because odds are, unless this thing just blows up, similarly to actually, well, I guess I can't say that because it happened for the Celtics, but if you're the Nets, like you're making those pick swaps with the understanding that, you know what, you're not going to want our pick anyway. So it doesn't matter. And the first round picks that we're giving you are not going to be high.
Well, John's saying the Rockets are losers, but I don't think so, John, because
I don't know.
Harden they weren't going to win anything with Harden. I mean, they weren't going to get better.
They will not be what they've been for the next 5-7 years. Nets in to win it now. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but let's call it. Look, Kevin Durant, excellent player. James Harden, that's a Ranger goal for Filipino, 4-3. Malcontent, been a malcontent. Kyrie Irving's fucked up in the head. Okay, so I'm just saying, like this has the potential to really blow up like a nuclear bomb. Now it's gonna be on Durant to keep it together because he's Kevin Durant and he's gonna have obviously a lot of respect in that locker room. They're clearly, I think, the best team in the East right now. Is that good enough to win a championship? I don't know. Maybe you'll get a shot, I guess. I mean, and Anthony said Nets have a 2-year win, they have to go for it. No, I get it. Like, I'm not bashing them for it. What I'm saying is I'm not in love with it for them, but I like it better that the Sixers didn't do it. Because again, look at the package that the Nets gave up. Nets didn't give up no Kyrie Irving. Nets didn't give up anybody off their current roster. There's nobody.
No.
A
lot of picks.
Right. Okay. But the picks are the picks. If the picks are low first rounders, you don't want them in basketball anyway. Yeah. So to me, like I said, I think the big winner here was the Sixers because they really would have just obliterated their future for probably a 1 to 2 year window. And this is not me saying that Ben Simmons is the come all be all either. I mean, he might just be a good player, might put up Hall of Fame numbers and empty numbers, and he might not ever actually win anything in Philadelphia. I mean, that's its own discussion, right? Mm-hmm. I'm very versatile, Tony. You know that by now. I talk about everything. I have an opinion on everything. I'm wrong most of the time. Don't care about that. But if that's what it was going to take to just take my team apart, first of all, let's call it Maxey looks like a stud. He's played a couple. I mean, he looks really good. It looks a lot better than guys taken around that part of the draft. And Tybal's a great defensive player. Ben's a great defensive player. Like, you were literally breaking up the entire core minus MB. Do you really want to do that for one player, which might not work out?
Yeah.
I think they were the clear winner.
I agree. I don't think it's a good move to do that. Yeah.
For me, I really, but we'll see where that ends up. But that deal went off the day after our show, so we had nothing we could bring it up. So
they got the basketball show tomorrow night. They're going to be
yes.
Baseline Jumper. They'll be hopping on it.
Baseline Jumper is phenomenal basketball coverage. They talk about things I don't understand. So obviously, if you're into the hoops talk, I would highly encourage you because they're going to give you things that I'm just not equipped to do. And I'm going to give you things that they're not equipped to do when we talk about the NHL's opening week. So we are about a week now into the NHL season. And I just want to bring this up because it came up. Why are hockey fans going 6 to midnight over the first 2 games of a season?
Because they have nothing else to talk about.
Hello.
It's crazy. And listen, I'm a Flyers fan, and I've heard everything from, see that? Oh, look at they're contenders. They played a Pittsburgh team. See that? And then they get smoked the following day against the Sabres, and everybody's back to square one again.
Okay, so the dirty little secret is Pittsburgh has some defensive problems, clearly.
They do, and their goal is a little young. So, I mean, they got rid of Matt Murray, which I think is kind of a mistake, but they got Jari.
Okay, so I don't know that Jari is a legit starter. What I do know is I think Matt Murray's time in Pittsburgh was coming to a close. Mm-hmm. Like I don't dislike them making that move. Mm-hmm. I just would rather have them gotten somebody better or just like not give the reins to somebody else. But having said all that, to John Suggs' point, Pittsburgh over the last 5-6 years, like I don't think they have a single first round pick from that mix. If anything, it's just one. And they continue to band-aid, flex seal, patch, duct tape this roster around their core. And it's not working. The last 2 years, they have been swept by the Islanders and lost to Montreal, the 12 seed in the prelim in the opening round. Matt Jenkins, Canada representing, talking hockey.
My boy, Matt Jenkins. Sorry. Go ahead.
Matt Jenkins. So I think, look, Pittsburgh's got some issues. Again, Malkin's got 2 years left to deal. He's 34. Mm-hmm. Like I think if you start looking at teams like that are going to just like literally fall off of a cliff. No. That are going to fall off of a cliff. Like when that team falls off, it's going to be like nuclear winter.
How bad is Chicago right now? Bad.
Yeah.
Bad. So goaltending issues out the wazoo. They should probably just call me up and I could probably go out there and play for them.
I mean,
hey, I get cleared in April. I'm getting back on the ice.
Tom says there's a hot mic at MSG. I got the game on literally right here.
Yeah,
my TV on over here, but I don't know what was said. So clue me in. I'll have to go back and listen to that. Yeah, so look, Rangers came out with a pretty piss-poor effort in Game 1 against the Islanders, bounced back nicely in Game 2 against the Islanders. Devils tonight is 4-3, just a high-scoring game. I'm not going to sit here and get too up or down about 2 games since the start of regular season. Again, I came in not thinking they were going to make the playoffs this year. Weird year, tough division. I think their best case scenario is the 4 seed in the East and a quick exit, most likely. So I'm not really going to lose my shit one way or another. But for you, look, Flyers come in, good start, good couple games against Pittsburgh. I mean, couple games from a result standpoint, because there really were some very long stretches there where Pittsburgh dominated play and they didn't really see the fruits of it. Then they end up going against Buffalo last night and getting the doors blown off. So your overall thoughts on what you've seen so far, knowing that we're not going to get too high or too low.
I don't know. I can't get a good feel of it right now. I mean, some teams are up, some teams are down. I actually turned on ESPN the other night. Chicago was on, and I saw how bad they are. That's why I'm saying Chicago. Actually, Detroit's been a surprise. They're not good, but they're not terrible either. They've been okay so far. Lightning's still good. The Lance still good. A lot of teams you're going to see in the next probably couple weeks, because these games mean a lot for teams. I mean, Buffalo, they wanted the other night against the last night against the Flyers, because basically they're 0-2 in a division, and they, every game matters, so they had to get a win. They're desperation time, which I like. 0-2 and desperate already. I mean, that's great. Every game matters for these teams. So I still can't get a read on the teams. I think maybe in a week or two I will. Who's really playing balls out and who's really kind of still feeling their oats a little bit. I mean, like the Rangers, we expected the Rangers to come out of the gate like gangbusters, and I wouldn't say they're struggling, but they're still trying to get chemistry together, and they're still trying to play together.
I had no expectation. These teams haven't played in so long. There was no preseason. People
forget playing with each other again, get continuity and stuff like that. Although I am a little worried about a guy on the Flyers, Hayes. I'm a little worried about that. He started out of the gate like gangbusters last year. He started off to a slow start. There's a lot of games left, but
what you should be concerned about is Couturier missing time here, because he is a very, very, very key piece for them.
Yep.
John Slugs, Islanders don't look bad. Vegas, Maple Leafs. Look, the Islanders, here's the thing about the Islanders. The Islanders will do everything they can to get a lead, and they will try to sit and sit on that lead and just try to wear you down and play and just literally just collapse and prevent defense, basically. And that's not going to work. In the playoffs, especially, that's not going to work. So, they got that lead on the Rangers in the first game. Rangers took some bad penalties, which gave them the opportunity to do that. And then, still 4-3, Rangers power play. I don't think that they're going to be there at the end. They might make the playoffs because now Pittsburgh, chinks in the arm for Pittsburgh. I think in the East Division, the Mass Mutual East Division, I think that the Bruins, Caps, and Flyers are locked for the playoffs. And then there's now that opening for Pittsburgh, the Islanders, and the Rangers. We'll see which one takes it. Again, both of these teams don't look as good as I thought they might. We'll see.
Worst team in the league this year?
Worst team in the league this year, I think, is still Detroit. Although, how about Sportsbox guest Bobby Ryan off on a hot start, 3 goals? Yeah,
absolutely. But I think Chicago is going to be the worst team. I think they got goaltending problems big time. Subban is not the guy they thought he was, and
they also, I don't think they came in expecting
with Corey Crawford. Yeah, the whole Corey Crawford mess. Yeah,
he was a Devil at the time.
Yeah,
so he had signed with New Jersey and then retired from there.
Well, they moved on from him, and they never really replaced him. They never really got a guy to bring in behind him. So they thought Subban was going to be that guy, and he's not. So
I'm struggling. I'm sorry. I'm watching this power play. They're
not. Still want to go with the Lightning, or you want to say the Lance
to win the whole thing?
Mm-hmm.
Still Tampa, and a part of that's because I think they have a much easier road to get there.
Yeah.
No.
They just bring waves at you. I mean, they got a great goaltender, and they bring waves at you. And they won it last year without Stamkos.
But and they're going to do it without Kucherov this year. But what I'm saying, the difference between them and Colorado is Colorado has no goaltending, and that's a problem. Yeah. So you can say that Tampa's got some better forward, that Colorado has some better forwards, and I will not disagree with you. Or Colorado does. The goaltending and a guy like Hedman make all the difference. I love Cale Makar, but I don't think he's there yet. Now, I will tell you that the runway for Colorado is much longer. Mm-hmm. A lot of young players still coming. Alex Newhook, Bowen Byram. So you have guys that are still coming.
Still mixing in.
Tampa's system is pretty much
plug and play.
Yeah.
Like Denver's running back situation in the NFL.
Yeah.
They just plug a guy in and just let him do his thing. But like you said, Kucherov's a big loss. I mean, if they can do it again without him, man, that's an achievement.
Slug's asking me, Toronto's actually got the most goals so far this year with 14. How about a shocker, Montreal with 12? Montreal was not a super offensive team. I like their offseason. I like the addition of a guy like Josh Anderson, and Nick Suzuki's playing a much bigger role this year. I don't know.
If Carey Price can get back to his old style, listen, Montreal could be in there again. I mean, I think he's just gotten bored in the last couple of years because his team stinks, but they've gotten better.
They're a tough read because I'm not a Shea Weber guy. I'm not a Shea Weber guy. I think Shea Weber is a guy with a big contract and a big slap shot and not much else. I mean,
but you think the Shea Weber, is he ever going to come around? Then you see.
This I am very warmed by this take. I do not have Montreal win that division.
No, I don't either. No.
I think I had them as a surprise playoff team, but to me, Toronto, Edmonton, and Vancouver better than Montreal. Now,
Yep.
TK is playing out of his mind, though you hate the Flyers' hot, fast start. No, I mean that's fine. It's the third game of the regular season. Like it's the regular season. Like you literally like none of this has any bearing.
Listen, I'm a Flyers fan, and I've been through the wars, been up and down. I've been through the 10-game loss that they lost 10 straight, and they came back crashing down to earth, and everybody said, "Oh my God!" and it just crashed. So listen, I got to get a read on this. I got to get a flow. That's
that game. That game's still 1-0 Flyers. Rangers out shooting the Devils tremendously. Nothing to really show for it. Neither here nor there. Tom, I don't think the refs staying in the same division. That last minute caveat added that. Yeah. I could see some of that because again, I mean, if calls will stick with you. The arguments that all that stuff that like when coaches get on referees. I mean, they're going to remember that. I mean, you hope it doesn't really come back to bite them, but you know how hockey is. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So Dallas was not very good last year. That still is a mirage to me.
Dallas caught lightning in a bottle. Everything
they should not have been anywhere near where they were. And I think that they're not going anywhere near there again for quite a while.
And I think Bishop got hurt, didn't he already?
They just look, they ran a hot goalie. I mean, it happens. Yeah. But I think that Vegas was better than them. Colorado was better than them.
Speaking of that, I think Edmonton. I think Smith is hurt.
He's out. They're Mikko Koskinen is their goalie right now. I mean, it's a whole different division. But Dallas is in a division Tampa is going to just roll over and crush.
Yeah,
crush. They might win 45 games. I'm not even kidding.
Without Kucherov.
Yeah. No, like if you said right now, like give me one lock for the Final Four, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay.
Yeah, till they get knocked off. Give me Tampa Bay.
Matt Jenkins, give the Ducks back to the Nordiques in Quebec City.
Yeah. Well, Matt is in Montreal, so yeah, that's why he's.
No,
I agree. Quebec should have the Nordiques back. I mean, yeah, it should.
Well, I will tell you, this all Canadian division, like we're not going to necessarily get it where we are. Oh, you suck. We're not going to get it where we are, but that's going to be nuclear war up there, and the media is eating it up. Yeah. So, but anyway,
that's it, Brian. That's a wrap.
No, listen, that's all we have. We went around the horn, and we didn't talk any baseball. This whole thing with the Mets, by the way, is a total disaster.
We'll get into that later.
Give Steve Cohen credit for firing the guy. I mean, you probably should not text your penis to random people.
Yeah, I mean, what's he going to do at that point? What's he going to say? Okay, yeah, we forgive you. I mean, there's no other choice than to get rid of him. So.
Self-inflicted, right?
Yeah.
John Suggs. We'll get into the expansion draft a little bit closer. That's always fun. It's actually annoying too because it's set up for them to do very well again. Get it? Oh, come on. Yeah. Rangers are really peppering Blackwood. He's keeping them in the game right now.
Bettman, awful. The Kraken is awful.
You just don't like new teams.
You got to delete teams. Stop adding teams.
John Suggs was going to text Paul 67 texts in a row. You should totally do it. That'd be kind of funny.
Well, we want to thank you for watching Highly Opinionated tonight. We always have a lot of views, a lot of Buccaneer talk this week, and hopefully next week too as well. Before we get out of here, though, Brian's got a little bit about crowd.
Well, real quick again, it's a big week for the first time in a long time. We're going to have actually shows 5 straight days. So tomorrow night, the boys from Baseline Jumper are on. Meads, Paul Allen, and Tony Quigley will be on. They're 7 p.m. tomorrow. Thursday night is the debut of Fighting Words. That's our new UFC show with new hosts Lou Bertasia and Bobby Esau. So check that out. They'll be previewing this weekend's UFC event with Conor McGregor coming back. So obviously there's a lot to talk about with that. And then obviously the boys from Sweet Tea, I actually made a guest appearance on Friday night. Those guys are awesome. Looking for some Friday night stuff. I know I've seen John Suggs watch that show. They're getting better and better. They're really having a good time. So highly recommended for them. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't obviously bring up our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the app, Apple App Store, Google Play. Use code THEBOX to sign up, get 10 free points. I'm sure that's something going on for the Championship Sunday. So
and for all the Bucks fans out there, I will make a special appearance on A2D Radio Friday. Talk a little bit about the Bucks. So if you want to pop on, especially pop on Sunday, because we are going to be doing some Buck talk before the big game. Can't wait. So we want to thank you. I'm still moist, by the way. So I want to thank you for watching.
Maybe for a while until if they lose, it'll get dry very quick.
Well, and listen, if the Bucks win, this will be the first time in NFL history that the team that's in the Super Bowl is hosting the Super Bowl.
Nobody can go.
It is in Tampa this year, so.
And nobody can go.
Yeah, nobody can go, and I can't go. Man, it sucks. Anyway, for myself, Hamilton, Mike Galletta, and Brian the Ranger Attard, we want to thank you for watching Highly Opinionated. We will catch you next time. See ya.
Take care, boys. See you the rest of the week. Get ready for football on Sunday.
Go Bucks.
Thank you for watching the Sports Box. Follow us on Facebook at Sports Box Show, Twitter at Sports Box Show, Instagram at The Sports Box Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our friends at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 points. See you next time.